Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Mike D, the referee, joining you from a beautiful New Jersey week. We are about 2 weeks away from scrimmage season here in New Jersey. Loving it, getting back on the field, doing all that fun stuff. I got the dream team back together. Coach Chip, Daniel, what's happening, fellas? How you guys all doing?
It's all good.
Fantastic.
Good to have LT Chamberlain back with us.
Yes, sir. Except for that Boston hat, everything else is
hey,
good.
I'm gonna tell you this: you've got a little sect of fans here in Oklahoma that listen to you talk, and they spotted me on here a year or so ago, and it's some refs that ref here in Oklahoma, and they said they laugh because I always wear the Boston hat. So, plus we just went on a streak. I don't know what you expect of me. We did one good thing. I'm definitely not taking the hat off now.
Yeah, that's true. They had a nice roll there. What was it, like 15 games or something?
15 in a row. I don't know what we've done since it. We've lost 3 of the last 10, so still not terrible.
No, not at all. Still not the Yankees, but it's okay.
I mean, y'all are slumping. We're 4 games back, baby.
I know. They just
y'all were 22 games up on us or something. I don't know what it really was, but.
Well, can you play outfield?
Are you saying because we? Because I'm saying we?
No, I'm saying can you? Because the Yankees, everybody is injured for the Yankees.
I probably couldn't hit the ball.
Neither can the Yankees.
Or throw it.
Neither can Anthony Volpe.
There we go.
So, all right, fellas. Before we start, though, gotta throw in a couple quick plugs. Paying the bills, as Daniel likes to say on his show. Before we get started, big thank you to the official equipment partner of Whistle Talk, refshop.us, for supporting us. Whether you're a new official, Daniel, or a seasoned veteran, moi, RefShop has the gear to make you look your best on the field. And when you go there, you can get shirts, pants, whistles. You can get custom earpieces for the Midland radios for crew communication, and you can get that Redden study guide there. So head over to refshop.us, use TALK26 at checkout for 10% off. And if you are enjoying our lovely show here, as Daniel was just talking about, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit those subscribe buttons, subscribe to the channels, YouTube, you can find it, and leave us a comment. Your support helps us reach more officials, more coaches, more football fans, so that we can get the good word out. So thank you for being a part of our Whistle Talk community. Gents, where can everybody find you guys?
Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, you can find me on, I'll tell you what, Kenny and I have been on a hiatus, man. We got caught in separate places with me on my military, and he's on vacation this week. But you can find us the Coaching 101 podcast, where Kenny Simpson and I talk about some things, and then over at the Football Coaching Podcast, which is my primary place, with Joe Daniel, kind of catch us. It's every Thursday. Both of those podcast drops episodes on Thursdays. Like I said, Coaching 101, man, we're missing a few weeks, but we'll be back.
Hey, man, got to take advantage of the summertime and some vacation time.
That's right.
Hey, that last episode with you and Joe, that was a good one. I listened to it this morning on my ride, the most recent one that came out.
Was that Wing T?
No, it was the one about building your depth chart.
Oh, yeah. Big question. A lot of fans have asked that question, so that's it's a good one. Coaches still struggle with.
It was a good one. It was a good one. All right, you can find me at Football Talk with Coach Chip on YouTube. Head on over there. Even if you never watch a video, go ahead and subscribe. That helps me out. But if you are so inclined, watch a few. They're pretty good if you understand the game. They get a little detailed. It's not for the casual, I can promise you that. And then you go on over to, I have a podcast, Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast. You can find me online, Facebook, Football Talk with Coach Chip Facebook group, and on Twitter it's Coach Chip at Chip Seagle, S-E-A-G-L-E. S-E-A-G-L-E. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Ladies and gents, go over and check out these sites, check out those podcasts, because again, if you're here just to learn football official rules and stuff like that, well, it makes us better officials by understanding what some of these crazy coaches sometimes are thinking. So you'll be able to pick up a couple tips, a couple ways to talk with coaches a little bit better, because we know that communication one can sometimes be a little bit dicey. And if you're a football fan, it's just great football. You're listening to football.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. All right, gents. So today we are going to be diving into rule numero 70. Rule 7. So let me pull over my screen here. So we got snapping, handing, and passing the ball. So rule 7 actually does cover a pretty large amount of things. So we're going to dive into some pass interference, different things like that, forward handoffs. So it's got a lot of stuff in there. So without further ado, here we go. Click. There we go. All right. Definition: snapping the ball. This is a refresh of Rule 2, 232.14. Team A lineman who snaps the ball is going to be defined as the snapper. And the snap, 2-40, is the legal act of passing or handing the ball backward from the ground. Snap begins when the snapper moves, when the snapper first moves the ball, and the movement must be quick and continuously backward for the motion of the ball, must immediately leave the snapper's hands and be touched back or the ground before it touches an A lineman, and snap ends when the ball touches the ground or any other player. So we got a little refresher there. All right, Daniel, you want to get us going here?
For sure. Here we go. Before the snap, the snapper rule 7-1. Snapper may be over the ball, but feet must be behind the neutral zone. No part of the body other than the hands on the ball can be beyond the foremost point of the ball. Snapper may lift the ball for lateral rotation, but cannot rotate end to end. Following ready for play and after touching ball, the snapper shall not remove both hands from the ball, make any movement that simulates a snap, fail to clearly pause before the snap, lift or move ball other than in legal snap. Penalties: a snap infraction, signal 7 and 19, and is a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, and you'd be amazed at what some of the younger teams are doing with the JVs and the freshmen. And I did see it actually with a varsity guy. The center came out, broke the huddle, came out, and picked the ball up and was standing there with the ball in his hand. I'm like, JV and freshman, I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Varsity, I had to throw a flag on him. I'm like, well, I did tell him still, you can't do that, but I think the flag also told him that he can't do that. But yeah, you don't want to be lifting that ball off the ground. So slight rotation, and I actually get into the habit of asking my center which way they like the ball, which way they like to snap it. So as you can see in the picture here, they're snapping it with their fingers on the laces. So if it's a right-handed snapper, some of them like that, especially if it's a shotgun team. Other teams like it that their hands are on just the leather, so that when they're snapping it, they're getting the laces up to the quarterback's hands first. So I usually ask my centers pregame what they like. And then as we come out for punt or extra point, I'll ask them as they approach the ball, how do they want the ball? So usually they want laces down on that one.
Yeah.
That is one of Joe Daniels' pet peeves. He hates that quote that says either you're coaching it or you're allowing it. But in this case, that quote is correct. The reason those kids came up and picked that ball up is because that's what they do in practice.
Yep.
The centers are spotting their own ball in practice. Coaches, do not let your center spot the ball.
Even more so on kick game, because I was a long snapper myself, and teaching people to be a long snapper. They just get a ball. They're already in their stance. They just get a ball by their hand. And no, you want to learn how to approach the ball and get yourself ready to snap the ball, because that makes a big difference. Instead of them just grabbing the ball from the air and putting it down and then going from there, they're not moving. And, well, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Coach Tip, here we go. Now your back is good?
I was scratching it. I don't know why it does that. It just does it. It itches. Before the snap, and I'll do it again before it's over. See there? Back scratch up. Before the snap, encroachment and false start, 7-1. Encroachment, after ready for play and snapper places hand on ball. Any other player breaks plane of neutral zone. This includes A, lining up incorrectly. I will say this, y'all are very good about the wide outs. If they line up, y'all back them up. Y'all just don't blow the, just don't throw the flag on a wide receiver, which is good. B player makes contact with ball prior to end of snap. B player makes contact with hand or hands or arms of snapper prior to release. Penalty is encroachment, 5 yards, dead ball foul. False start, only by A, after ready for play and before snap begins. A shift or feigned, that's a fancy way of saying faked, charge that simulates action at the snap. An act clearly intended to cause B to encroach. Any lineman between snapper and end with hand down moves hand or quick movement, no intent. Now, do y'all remember when you were little kids and you tried to slap the center's hand when the ball moved?
I was just going to bring that one up, especially in the end of the game type of scenario. 100%. Can't do it.
Trying to do it, yeah. And they told me you can't do it.
Yep.
And you can't. But I remember we practiced trying to slap the ball when the center moved it. And I've seen it happen in a game, not a game I was coaching, but I've seen it happen. And then the other thing too, some of my Alabama partners went to their All-Star week last week, is what they call it, is when they all come together from all over the state, take the rules test and all that, and go through the rules clinics. And the referees in Alabama said that Bixby shifting, they're not going to allow it. Mm-hmm. It's got to be, you got to be standing straight up. You cannot be hunkered down, in that 2-point stance, and it's got to be can't be jerky at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can start getting into, you can't be in a 2-point. I get the hands down, which is Mike has so eloquently placed here, hands down, locked in. I get that, but you're gonna say you can't be in a 2-point stand. Then your quarterback can't move, your running back can't move, your wide receivers
can't move. They're not on the line.
Move.
They're not on the line. I'm talking about the linemen.
Yeah.
They said if you get in that now when I say 2-point stance, I don't mean just standing there. I mean that 2-point stance that teams that we do.
That you're playing out of.
That we play out of, and we put our hands on our knees and we're low. And last year we did it where we would shift because our left guard and our center were equally good snappers. And so we could shift and change just like Bixby does. And we had referees last year, some would call it on us, some wouldn't call it on us. And so we always checked before the game, and if they were going to call it, we wouldn't do it. But this year, now I haven't heard anything in Georgia, but I assume it's Federation. Alabama has said if you get in that set position, even though your hand's not on the ground, and shift in that set position, they're going to consider that an intent to deceive. And I called a referee buddy of mine, the one I've told Mike about before.
Cheating on me.
You're wrong. It's not an intent to deceive. The shift is an intent to out-leverage them and to outflank them. We're not trying to make them jump. The jump is a bonus. So I think I don't like that. Teach your defense to key the ball and not movement.
100%.
That's what I tell defensive coordinators. I said, teach them to key the ball.
And that's what they should be doing.
And if the ball don't move, you shouldn't. And defensive guys are soft. They're soft. They're emotionally and mentally soft.
Woof.
They have to be protected by the rules.
Like quarterbacks. So the graphic I have here says hand down, locked in, false start. This one is especially true for, and I want everyone to look, I've got a single receiver to the left off the line of scrimmage, and then it goes what would be tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle, and then a tight end who is also now covered up by an outside receiver to the right. So if this was a true tight end and he put his hand down in this scenario, he cannot shift to an eligible spot on the left because his hand's in, his hand's down, he is locked in. If, say, on the left side, that wasn't the left tackle, that was the tight end, and they're not covered up outside, we're good to go. So we're okay with that, and everybody understands that. So when you're covered up, you're locked in.
Correct.
All right, so other encroachment false start notes. If a false start causes B to encroach, the false start is penalized. And that's kind of, now, Chip, I don't know anything specifically federation wise that they're coming out with that different shift, but this is the rationale that they have it. If our movement is causing the encroachment, then we're going to call it on the offense. So all encroachments and false start snap infractions are dead ball fouls. There's no such thing in the Federation and NFHS for a free play. So you can't pull a hard count, get the defense to jump, and then get a snap and try to take advantage of the touchdown Aaron Rodgers style. No B player shall use disconcerting acts or words prior to the snap to interfere with A's signals or movements. This was a big point of emphasis last year in the college game, where it hasn't become a true point of emphasis for us here at the high school level, but it should be. Yelling a snap count, that's the easy one. Well, I shouldn't say that's the easy one, because sometimes it's a hard one, because if the defense has different languages that they use for shift, for stem, different things like that, offense calls shift and the whole people shift around. Well, if defense calls shift, now the offense thinks that was them. That's where it gets a little bit tricky. But you can't start calling out the cadence, and also clapping if A's cadence is the clap. And that was the big one you saw in the college level. Anything that is unnecessarily done to make a false start, in our judgment, and it's usually going to be me, the umpire, being back there, okay, that's going to be a disconcerting act. That's going to be a 5-yard dead ball foul.
So I do remember this becoming a thing in college last year, especially with stemming the line, right? They started throwing defensive penalties if you stemmed your line
Too
if it
hard.
caused the offense to jump, which is a crockery, honestly, because it's my whole job on defense is to make the offensive line terrible. And if they've already talked and communicated and I move and now they have to re-talk and communicate, that's not my fault, right? Just like if I wasn't set, they can snap the ball. So I hated that. I do know, obviously, been going to some of the ref meetings here, kind of getting ready with the association. And this has already come up, but it sounds like we're going to take a pretty common sense approach to it. The defense absolutely can talk, they can move, they can change blitzes, they can audible, anything they want to do. It seems like the two that we're super focused on is don't use their exact same cadence and don't be up there bulldogging the guard and clapping your hands, right?
Yeah.
Like
And stomping your feet.
the clap belongs to the offense, regardless if we like it or not. And you can't be up there like physically, even stomping your foot and these. I think you said a disconcerting act, but something looking like "here I come," right, or making them get a little antsy in their pants. It seems like that's going to be the real focus on it. Defense is moving around and talking and communicating. We're not trying to penalize them.
You know what I taught my offensive line to do when we used to go on 2, and now when we do no play, I tell my offensive line to close their eyes.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. Now, how many
Close
times
your
in no?
eyes. I said, you can't see anything they're doing, no matter what they do. If they pull a gun on you, you're not going to jump because you're not going to know it.
How many times on no play have you had an offensive lineman jump off?
And I've had it happen, but not lately.
Yeah.
Fewer, but we practice the shit out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But now here's the thing. Okay, first off, movement by the defense shouldn't affect the offense because the offense is going by sound. Okay, sound by the offense shouldn't affect the defense because they're going on movement. So to me, that's all it needs to be said. There needs to be no special rule to protect either side of the ball because defense goes on movement, offense goes on sound. And when I coached defensive line, I think I told Mike D this. When we stemmed, we did a seat roll. And one night we were beating the team pretty good in the fourth quarter, and this was like 30 years ago. The white hat came over and told our head coach, "Can y'all please quit doing that? Because they just keep jumping, and we're going to be here all night." And but now we would do a lateral seat roll. Well, if they jump, screw them. That's on them because their offensive line coach didn't teach them.
Yep.
They go on sound. Period. End of discussion. Defense goes on movement. End of discussion. There needs to be no special rules in the NFL, college, or high school. These coaches do your damn job, and players have some discipline. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right. Daniel, you want to take some definitions here on formations?
I absolutely do. So definitions, base definitions here for formations. The back, team A player with no part of his body breaking the waist of nearest teammate on the line. An exception here is a player in position to receive hand-to-hand snap, so the quarterback. A lineman is team A player who is facing opponent's goal line and whose head or foot is breaking the plane to the waist of the snapper.
Say that one again. Say that last part again.
Oh, and whose head or foot is breaking the plane through the waist of the snapper.
Yep. Can't be, well, he would be if he was down in the 3-point stance. Got to move him up. If you're in a 2-point stance, you got to be breaking the plane of the snapper in your 2-point stance. You can't go with, but yeah, he's 6'4", so if he was down in a 3-point stance, his head would break. No, get him up there.
Scrimmage formation requires a minimum of 5 A players legally on their line at the snap.
So, Chip, you had a question on that one before we started recording.
I thought it should have been 7, but then you go talking about being shorthanded again and the fact that y'all don't count linemen anymore. You count the backfield. And so if you're playing at 9, it'd be 5 and 4.
There's 2 rules, right?
11, it'd be 7 and 4.
There's a maximum in the backfield, and then there's a minimum on the line. Right, that's the 2 rules, Mike?
Yep. And this is the minimum.
A lot of people, I've heard coaches in games complaining, well, they got 9 guys on the line. So,
yep,
that doesn't matter. That means they have less eligible receivers to go out. But it doesn't. There's no maximum to get on the line. You can run 10 on the line.
But y'all going to have to bear with us now because y'all have changed the way you interpret that rule, and coaches don't know that.
I hear a lot of guys talking about 7. I hear that a lot. Well, they're supposed to have, they can only have 7.
Yeah, but the 4, counting the 4 was it's just the way that y'all look at it now is different than the way y'all used to look at it, and and we don't know that. I only know it because of Mike. Now let me tell you this about this rule, and this is what I teach because of my wing T, and Kenny teaches this way because of his wing T influence. We're going to get as deep as we can possibly get.
100%.
You're not going to throw a flag on us the first time. We're going to go until you make us stop. We're going to back up until you make us stop backing up.
Yeah.
And this is going to be where the preventative officiating, we're typically going to give them a warning. We're going to go to the sideline, and this is going to be our short wings. And in the graphic I've got here, you can see the short wing right on the line of scrimmage. He's probably going to turn around and say, Coach, you need to move those guys up. This scenario, though, it's 4th down. I don't know where it is in the game with the picture, but this is exactly what I was talking about. You could see the top of the screen, the left guard and the left tackle. Looks like the left guard is in a 2-point stance, or if not, he's got a very high 3-point stance, but his helmet's not breaking the snapper's waist, and we got a line drawing to get it through the snapper's waist, where on the left side, everybody's good there. So it's just little things like that we got to take note of. Again, wing T, option teams, you're gonna see them trying to get as far back as possible because it makes their reads a little bit easier for them.
Well, the reason why is this little thing that I teach offensive linemen. They can't beat you until they meet you. So the longer you delay the engagement. All right, go back to the picture. The picture on the right, the right guard, the right tackle and the tight end, they're in the neutral zone.
Yep.
The left side looks great to me. That's the way it should be. That's the way I teach it. But these guys the guys on the right, nearest to us, that tight end's in the neutral zone.
So I want you to look at the actual field itself. What do you notice is missing?
Hash marks.
Yeah. And this is why we hate officiating fields that are grass with no hash marks, because it's tough for us to get onto the lineman about being. This whole thing looks like it is like 2 degrees off, swung with the right side up and left side back.
The right tackle's way up there, right?
Yeah. So
he's off sides, and the left guys are too far back.
Correct. And this makes it difficult because we have no landmarks on the field to line them up. They have no landmarks on the field to line up with. Not making that as a true excuse because Coach Chip, as an offensive line coach, do you tell your linemen to line up with a foot placement next to the person next to you, or is it look at the hash marks and go from there?
Foot.
Yeah. So
I tell the guards, make sure their toes are behind the center's heels as far as the referee will let you. And I tell the tackles, you're even with the inside foot your inside foot is even with the inside foot of the guard.
yep. And 14, 15, 16-year-old kids, well, they're saying my left foot is even with the guard's inside foot, but it's slightly up, and so it's a little cattywampus. And now you throw the tight end out there, and he does the same thing, and now you get a look like this. So this is where we're going to want to do a lot of preventative officiating aspects of it to try to get them lined up. And just, I got to say to the short wings on a field like this, just be consistent with it. Talk to both teams if you have to. Just be consistent with it. All right. Who's up? Coach Chip?
Formation and positioning requirements, 7-2. After ready for play, each A player and substitutes must have been between 9-yard marks momentarily before the snap. So you can't just run off the field and line up at below the numbers.
Correct.
Or run off the sideline. The two players next to the snapper, usually the guards, may lock legs with snapper. Anyone else must have each foot outside the closest foot of player next to him. You want to stop and talk about that? You want me to finish the slide?
You can finish it, and then we'll come back to that one.
No more than 4 players may be backs, which means off the line of scrimmage. It is no longer 7 players required on the line of scrimmage. Y'all have got to educate coaches that y'all are interpreting and counting it different. Only one A player not on the line of scrimmage may break the plane of snapper's waist, and that's going to be the quarterback. They must be in position to receive the hand-to-hand snap, which in coaching parlance means an under center snap. So,
Yep.
penalties in legal formation, signal 19, 5-yard penalty, and it's considered a live ball foul.
Yep. So we are going to play that one out. And in essence, now you're kind of looking at a free play for the defense, because if they get a turnover in that scenario, they're keeping the ball, declining the penalty. If they get a sack, they're going to probably decline the penalty because now you got a different down. But if now you got a big run, they're going to accept the penalty and move them back 5 yards. So, yeah, it's kind of a free play for the defense. So going back, and Coach Chip, I was thinking about this after we started recording. So 2 players next to the snapper, the guards, may lock legs with the snapper. This, again, when I said it to Coach Chip, it's typically on the kick game. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about it. It's 99% happening on the kick game. You don't really see it, but it is legal on a regular scrimmage down or scrimmage play to be like that. And Coach Chip said, well, why would you even want to do that? The only thing I could think of is going to be your quarterback sneak.
Exactly.
Other than that, you're doing a disservice to your guards because you're putting them in a position. I mean, and if you got a smaller center gets knocked back, now he's tripping. So you'll see it more so on extra point and field goals. You won't typically see it on punts because teams are typically spreading out on punts to cover the field. But you can see this on a scrimmage play. But again, it doesn't really serve a good purpose, but it's only the guards that are able and allowed to do that.
Well, since we talked, and I thought about this too, I thought of a way, same as you, when we block wedge, the wedge play, my coaching point is to the guards and the tackles, you want to catch up to the hip of the man to your inside.
Yep.
And I've literally told them, you want to block their outside ass cheek with your shoulder.
Yep.
And create a literally flying wedge that's been outlawed forever, but it's legal post snap. And we're going to get behind it with a fullback dive or a quarterback sneak and get a yard or 2 on the wedge. Now I'm thinking that would be a good time to do it when you're teaching that guard to block that guy's ass cheek anyway, to drive him like drive the center like he's a sled, and the quarterback get in behind it, almost like a cleaned up version of that tush push thing.
Yeah. All right, so I'll take this one here with crew communication for formation. So this is going to vary by different states and by different associations. This is not something that is regulated. This is more of the mechanics aspect of the game here. So each state's a little bit different. But the first thing is we're going to punch back. So we're going to extend an arm into the backfield to signify the receiver closest to us is off the line of scrimmage. Some associations are going to keep it back until the ball is snapped, which is what our association does. Other areas, they're just going to give a punch step back, and then they're going to bring their arm back down. I like keeping it extended until the ball is snapped so that we're still showing that, hey, I've got my guy off the line of scrimmage. If I see my partner across the field with their arm in the back, well, then we're going to look to see how many backs are in the backfield now to see if we have more than 4 men in the line of scrimmage. Because you could have double tight end and 2 outside receivers off the line of scrimmage, and then your back's behind.
Do y'all not punch forward and backward now on twins?
We do not punch forward, no.
Okay. How long has that been a rule?
Since I've been in my association, we've never punched forward.
Forever.
So mechanics are definitely by region, right? I mean, I've even had Oklahoma guys tell me like, "Hey, I listen to you and Mike talk that his mechanics don't belong. Like they don't learn his and think that's the know all be all because every association does things a little bit different when it comes to especially pre-snap.
And a lot of states, it also varies on if it's a 5-person crew or a 6-person crew with the different states and associations. And then you get to the playoffs, the mechanics change slightly when you get a 7th person in the back in the defensive backfield. So this, again, when it comes to mechanics, learn what your association does and learn what your crew does, because we're trying to communicate with each other in this scenario to let my partner across the field know that, hey, I've got a guy off the line of scrimmage. How many do we have? So we want to just be lockstep with that one. So
what is the hand on face signal?
So an arm across like this or just a pat on my cheek signifies that you have more than 3 on your side of the snapper.
I've seen that.
Again, it's just subtle. It's something that we're not doing it to let coaches and players know. We're doing it to let my partner across the field know. And all these mechanics were well before O-to-O radios were there out. So now you could just jump on, I got three. Back, something like that, depending upon what you guys want to do. But the O-to-Os make a lot of the hand signals possibly not needed. And flags should come from both wings when there's more than 4 people in the backfield. You should be communicating, and if you know you've got more than 4 in the backfield, you're probably going to have a hand or maybe even give like a little tug to signify to your partner across the field, hey, we're throwing this. And then when that ball is snapped, there should be 2 flags going up in the air. This is not the Me Too flag, but this just tells it that we're communicating with each other and we know that there's more than 4 people in the backfield.
All right, and I know this is regional, or probably is regional. What do y'all want to hear from a wide receiver? Do you want him to say, I'm on, I'm off? Because I've had referees tell me, they said, oh, well, you're telling me what you are. No, and that's not been that way in years. But if they're supposed to be on, what should they say to the wing?
So I'm either the communication on or off, or a punch forward, or a quick punch backwards.
No, I mean, what are they saying to the kid?
Oh, when they're on?
The kid comes out there to line up. So let's say, if the kid's supposed to be on, what should he say to the official?
He should say, I'm on, or give me that punch forward. Just a subtle punch forward, on, and then the partner next to him, if they're in some type of twins, just gives a punch back. And I, as the wing, I'm echoing that out loud to the receiver so that he comes up, and when I'm playing the wing, you come up, I'm on. All right, you're on. So now he knows that I know, and now if I'm looking at his partner inside of him, he's also on. Well, now we got something possibly fishy here for too many men on the line of scrimmage or in an eligible downfield type of scenario on a pass play. So I'm going to echo what they tell me. So when the coach comes and says, he was off. Coach, he said he was on. I repeated, you're on. And we go from there. So it kind of takes out that gray area. So I like to echo it. You're off. All right, I got you. You're off.
I was supposed to bring this up since we're talking regional differences. I'm just going to hijack your show here. We in Oklahoma use the umpire in the offensive backfield instead of the defensive backfield. So they're just standing back there with the white hat staring at the quarterback. And,
I never would have guessed that Oklahoma would become the sissy state.
I guess so. I think they just got tired of refs playing linebacker, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, it was probably those.
You say you're jealous, Mike? You like that idea?
I do. I 100% do. I've been trying to push it in my state, in my association, and the pushback that we're getting is that it's too much running for the umpire back there. because unfortunately, and I mean this in no disrespect, the umpires tend to be the biggest official that's out on the field. I'm 6'3", I'm 200 plus pounds, so I fit that mold on my crew. But that doesn't mean that I like to set picks against 240-pound fullbacks or linebackers, or have safeties coming screaming, flying up my ass, trying to make a tackle. So for safety purposes, I would prefer to be in the offensive backfield, and I don't care about the extra running that we would have to do. But I'm in the minority in my state with that extra running, because it's usually an older, bigger official that's the umpire. So.
Hey, Daniel, I told Mike this about 3 years ago when we first met and started doing these together. I told him, I said, when we started teaching tempo years ago, and the kids one day said, well, Coach, how are we going to know where the ball's supposed to be spotted? I said, just look for the fat guy.
There you go.
He's the one that's going to spot it.
Yep.
Love it.
Largest guy. All right. So, Daniel, numbering requirements.
Number requirement 7-2. At least 5 A players on their line of scrimmage must be numbered 50 to 79, or an ineligible number. Chip's shaking his head like that ain't the rule. No players of the same team shall both participate while wearing the same number. Penalty here is illegal numbering, signal 19, 5 yards, live ball, foul. Exceptions. What are the exceptions, Mike?
GIAA, Georgia Independent Athletic Association. There are no rule numbers in football. It's like 1965 all over again. You can run tackle eligible. All that matters if they're in the backfield or they're uncovered. I can show you a touchdown drive last year where number 1 played tailback, H-back, left guard, and right guard. Never changed his position, never changed his number, and it was all on one possession. And it's because some of the schools in GIAA are so small, and it's to keep from having to do all that other stuff. And the referees know it. Now the only exception is now we can play out of association, so we may play somebody in the GHSA. If we're at their place, we're supposed to play by GHSA rules, which means we have to give our kids the proper number. If they're at our place, they play by our rules. Now, listen, this is my 3rd year doing it. It took me a while to get used to it, and it still looks dumb. When you're watching an end zone shot and you see number 1 rapping on a power, that is really screwy.
Yes, it is. And
I mean, we use number 1, and H-back raps on that GT baby. Let's go.
Yeah, but I'm talking about rapping the guard. He's the guard. So.
Yeah. It would drive me nuts, and I see it more so with the JV and freshman teams, because some teams are traveling with smaller numbers. Mm-hmm. Other teams, they're makeshift. I remember JV, hey, who can kick? Okay, you're kicking today. All right, do we got anybody, a long snapper? All right, you're snapping today. So, like, we'd be kind of doing it just, it's a hodgepodge. Okay, this guy played on Friday night. They're not coming to the JV game now today, so we're short people. Come Friday night, Saturday afternoon, depending upon where you're playing those varsity games, 99% of the NFHS rules, Chip, are going with the numbering.
I know.
Right? So that's going to be an association modification that everybody in that region are going to know about. So 2-14-2 is a scrimmage kick formation. No player in position to receive a hand-to-hand snap, and at the snap, either a player with their knee on the ground 7 yards behind, okay, with the kicker, player in position to receive the long snap 10 yards behind. And the reason we're refreshing this is because here are exceptions. Coach Chip, you want to take the exceptions here?
Numbering exception 7-2-5. First, second, third down. A must set or shift. The offense must set or shift into a scrimmage kick formation. Rule 2-14-2. Snapper may be a player numbered 0 to 49 or 80 to 99. Why didn't they just say he may be 0 to 99? Because he may be a lineman number 2. 4 players numbered 50 to 79 still required. Snapper must be between the ends and is eligible by position.
Ineligible.
Oh, ineligible. Excuse me.
Ineligible. And the reason they didn't say that is because this is going to be the exception where you only have 4 players with the ineligible number because you're shifting or you're coming out into a scrimmage kick formation. So on first, second, and third down, and you don't see it often, even teams that quick kick sometimes on third down, they're doing it with their full offensive unit that's out there. But if it's end of the quarter, end of the half, and you got the wind at your back, so you want to possibly take advantage of it at the end of the quarter, I don't know, you may run a kick team out there on first, second, or third down and have that person snapping in that scenario. But you still have to have 4.
The one that I just read, that's a recent rule in the last 20 years. That's the A11 killer. They put that in to cover the loophole of the A11 offense. And that's
which I never understood.
That was not there in 2006.
All right, Coach, take fourth down.
Fourth down or during a kick try. The offense must set or shift into a scrimmage kick formation, Rule 2:14-2. Any player numbered 0 to 49 or 80 to 99 may take the place of someone 50 to 79. They must assume initial position on the line of scrimmage between the ends. Remains ineligible by position during the down. Let me ask you this. Have y'all ever been screwed up on an extra point? Let's say an eligible number is the snapper.
Mm-hmm.
The snap is dropped. They yell fire. And that snapper eases into the end zone and they throw it to him.
We went over a video like this last year, didn't we, Mike?
Yes, we did.
With the punt and it wasn't even a screwed up fire. It was a fake punt, but the center snapped it, hesitated, Hezi won, and then sprinted a vertical. He ran a 9 ball.
Yep,
and
right down the hash.
For 30 yards and a first down or whatever.
Yep. But now
it absolutely does screw people. I mean, because refs can only, you got a lot of stuff going on. How are you going to keep track of?
Numbers are before the snap.
Yeah, how are you going to keep track of where every eligible number started and then where they finished the play? Did he come from a slot or was he the set?
So what my crew does on field goals and extra points, they're taking the responsibility of the tight end and usually the wing back on a field goal or extra point, that slot back, and they're going to call out those 2 players' numbers. So they're like, all right, I got 55 and 10. Well, 55's playing the tight end because it's a field goal. They want bigger bodies that are out there, but he's calling out, I got 55, I got 10. I'm going to call out from my umpire position the number of the center if he's an eligible number, so that I know that, okay, 14's the snapper. So now if I turn around and I see that 14 made that catch, doesn't matter when that flag comes, if it's a little bit late, I'm like, wait a minute, who caught that? Oh, 14, Mike. Oh, nope. No, he didn't. Yeah. So, and on punts is where you see it more because punts is basically a defensive play. So teams have their safeties and linebackers in for the guards and the tackles. And again, they're going to spread out, but they need to cover the field. I'm calling out all of my ineligible numbers that I have that are in tackle position. So you'll hear me over the O2O. I don't know if my friends or my partners are even paying attention to me, but for me, verbalizing it and calling it out, it helps me remember who they were. So I'm sitting there going 18, 12, 4, 7, ineligible. And boom, the snap goes off just to try to prevent that because we've had different plays where Daniel and I talked about one, and we had one in our association a couple of years back that was really, really bad, where it was a drop snap on a punt, scramble, threw it to the guard. The guard then runs and scores a touchdown, and that wins the game. So it was a bad optic.
Well, it happened to us 9 years ago, and it didn't have anything to do with the game. It was toward the end of the game, and our snapper was number 8 or number 9. He was a wide receiver.
Yep.
There was a fire, and when he heard fire, he just ran into the end zone.
Because he probably played that slot or tight end position more often
in his career, and he caught the ball. Everybody gets excited, jumps up and down, runs off the field, and we're over there getting ready for the kickoff. And then the ref does this, because what they had done, and you go back and look at the film, they got together and said, "Where did he come from?"
Yep.
And they talked it up. We couldn't argue. And honestly, we already knew the coaches. We already knew. We knew he was the snapper. Yeah. So we were hoping the referees didn't know. And
quiet.
Yeah. So.
All right. So definition now, shifts and motions. A shift is the action by one or more offensive players who, after the huddle or after taking set positions, move to a new set position before the snap. Okay, that's 239. A shift is two or more players in motion, okay, or simply getting set. A motion is one single player moving at the snap or prior to the snap, okay? And Chip, this goes back to what we were talking about with the Bixby shift and stuff like that. So that would technically be a shift because you got more than one player moving. But again, not simulating the snap, which is where we're going to lead to in our next couple slides here. So, Daniel, illegal shift in motion.
Yep. After a huddle or shift, all A players shall come to an absolute stop, remain stationary, simultaneous for at least 1 second before the snap. Penalties and illegal shift, signal 20, 2 arms, 5 yards, 2 or more players moving at the snap, generally. Only very good representation there might be. Only one A player may be in motion at the snap, and his motion can't be towards his opponent's goal line. If he started on the line of scrimmage, motion must be 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, or he can establish himself as a back by stopping for 1 second off the line of scrimmage, thinking a tight end trade here. Penalties, illegal motion, signal 20, 1 arm, 5 yards, 1 player moving forward at the snap is the general one you're going to see. The motion must be 5 yards. I guess that would just be if he was already covered up wide receiver or he was covering another wide receiver, right? So they would still, it's basically making himself a back.
Yeah.
Without doing the 1 second pause.
You don't see this often because if they're doing that, starting from the line of scrimmage and then going back, getting 5 yards, you're probably going to have 5 people in the backfield too. So that's where you
have to be a double covered, yeah. Anyway, good ones.
Dude, Daniel, you're not old enough to remember it, but nowadays nobody has to be because of YouTube. The Cowboys, when Landry was there, when they would set and they'd all rise up. In Landry's biography, they talked about when he started doing that in Dallas in the 60s. And to begin with, it was to see if they could get a cheap 5 yards. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of became their thing. Kind of like that cap has become your thing here on the show. And then there was a guy here in Alabama.
Hold on a second.
Legendary guy, high school guy.
Oh.
What?
I booed Daniel.
Coach Landry like that.
No, I'm booing Daniel's hat.
Oh, yeah. Now you're trying to save face, Mike.
All right, so he
I am a Giant fan too, but Landry was a Giant first.
Well, they would crowd the line of scrimmage. This team would on every play. And the quarterback would go set, and they'd all stand up except the center, and they'd back up just a little bit and put their hand down. It was perfect synchronization. But here was the kicker. If they were throwing the ball, it was on first sound, and they would go into their pass pro from that original position. There were coaches nutting up, but they let them do it because they said they do it every time. They said it's not an attempt to deceive, but they do it every time. I mean, literally every time. So if it was a run play, they'd raise up and go back. And that could have been a play action too. It didn't have to be, but if it was a pass play, they would just go on one and they would pass pro from that original position. What do you think about that?
That's genius. Why not?
He weaponized the rule book, didn't he, Chambo?
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we are going to end the first part of Rule 7 with Coach Chip and Daniel. We'll pick up right where we left off next week. So be sure to listen in next week. And also make sure you hit those subscribe buttons, hit those like buttons. Go to Daniel and Chip's pages too and hit those like and subscribe buttons there too. It helps all of us out. And I will talk to you again next week. Have a good one.